Well, it just started raining. It's 4 o'clock. There's 2 staff members that are trying to get Lucky out of Lucky's cub tree. And for the PTZ driver, Lucky's cub tree left. And I think I know who the driver is. He's been sitting in his cub tree for about an hour. Lucky doesn't like the rain, that's for sure. That'll either make him hunker down in the tree or come scrambling down here. It doesn't look like he's going to move. I'm going to go off mic and see if I can pull him down, but otherwise it's just starting to pour here. Just hold on a minute. This is Judy again at the North American Bear Center. I was offline just conversing with the downpour we're having right at the moment. This is the second or third time today it's rained here at the North American Bear Center, and for those of our worldwide visitors, we've had a variety of weather this afternoon as well. We've had nice blue sky. We had some rain about noon, 1 o'clock, and now here it's 4 o'clock and it just started to pour again. Lucky is in his cub tree, as I said, and he is facing, for those of you that have been here at the North American Bear Center, he is looking outward, meaning outside the bear enclosure. That is typically the way he faces when he is in his cub tree. And my estimate is he's about a good 10 foot off the ground. And he is not moving. It's not likely at all that he is going to move in the rain. It looks like he's going to hunker down right there, meaning he did not make a run for it. By that I mean he did not come down, tromp through the woods, and head for his den. Lucky prefers to be in his den. He will den himself. If it rains, he's choosing not to do that. In fact, I don't see him moving hardly at all. Honey, on the other hand, for those worldwide people that don't know where Honey is, Honey Bear is in our window den, which is to the end of the observation deck, not the stairs end, but the other end. And it is highly unlikely she's going to come out either. I thought we would be done with the 4 o'clock before this took place. I'll give you a little rundown of Holly Bear and Holly's little excursions today. Holly's was out for about 3-4 hours today. Holly was let out and she went out into the big enclosure all by herself today. And she actually came back in her den, and I guess I'm going to ask Sharon here in a minute or two to kind of explain what Holly did. She went in the wrong den, actually, and it was kind of interesting, but I think she knew what she wanted. And rather than you getting the account from me, I'm actually going to ask Sharon here. I'm going to pass the mic to Sharon, if you be patient, and have Sharon give you the account of what Holly did about less than an hour ago, probably, getting into the wrong den. So hold on, you worldwide visitors. And for the PTZ driver, Lucky is still in his tree, and it is still raining. So hold on.
Good afternoon, folks. I went up earlier about 3:30 to put Lucky in so we could let Ted out, and I saw some movement as I was walking up the hill, and I thought, well, this will be pretty easy. So as I approached the den, though, I realized it was little Holly that was coming into Lucky's enclosure and not Lucky. She proceeded to sniff around and investigate the areas that Lucky had been in, and then go over to his den and kind of look inside. Some of you may have seen that happening. Realizing that I had been calling Lucky and not knowing exactly where he was actually down here eating clover. I didn't see him when I went up. That I expected him to come in right behind her, and there to be some explosive things happening there, with Holly being afraid and Lucky going, "Oh, I want to play with you." So I went in and unlocked her gate and re-shut it so that she couldn't get out, and then opened the gate between their dens. She started crying right away when she saw me at the gate, meaning, "Please let me in. I'm not sure how to do this myself." So I let her in, I opened the gate, and she just looked at it and walked right through and sat down and started eating the peanuts that I put down. Why do I do that? Why do I put peanuts down for her? She knows that we carry food in our pouches, and so she doesn't go after the food that our pouches. We put the food on the ground, so she goes to that instead of coming to us to try to get it herself. Lucky is still right now in the cub tree, or his cub tree, and the rain is subsiding, so he may come down. But to continue with Holly, I then shut the gate between them and locked it, and then I left myself, with her interest being more concerned for the peanuts that I had left on the ground than me. So that's how we put her in, or she put herself in, actually. And then I closed her gate just in case Lucky decided to come into her side. As I walked down, I saw that Lucky was already down here, so we decided that enrichment should occur with him and not with letting Ted out, because and right now he's in the tree, so he probably won't come down until after the rain stops. He's actually covering his head, which bears do in the wild when they're in trees. He's also biting his paw, meaning that he's either playing or a little frustrated. So I'll give you back to Judy.
Well, that's kind of the latest story on Holly. Holly has the last couple days now ventured out. When we opened the gate for her, she has taken just a minute or two to venture out on her own with no other human intervention, whereby no staff member has had to go in and try to coax her out. She understands when that gate opens, she's free to go out. And to the best of what we've been able to ascertain is that she is found her way to her, what we call her deadfall tree area, which again is, for those of you that are new listeners here, her deadfall tree area is what we think she's considering a refuge area, or an area where she feels safe. It's directly straight out from the building, just to the immediate left of what we call the High Falls, and in the woods about 20 or 30 feet. It seems like she will get herself to the edge of the woods, and she has come out the last day or two with Sharon for some red grapes, and she tries to hover right near the forest edge there, the tree line, and is not willing yet to venture out much more than that in the open area. That's not necessarily a surprise, especially when she knows, and she does know, Ted, Lucky, and Honey are here. All three of them are much larger than her, and in the wild it would not be uncommon for a yearling to run or seek refuge from larger bears. For those of you that are here at the North American Bear Center, Lucky is in Lucky's cub tree. We call it Lucky's cub tree because for the last 7 years he has sat in that tree. It's one of the first trees he seemed to climb as a cub, and that's really quite interesting. It is a white pine, even though it's half dead. I believe it's the largest white pine in the entire 2.5 acres. And it may be the only white pine I have not looked at every tree in the 2.5 acres, but it is clearly the largest white pine in the enclosure, and he picked it. And I'm really curious myself, and at least one of my curiosities about Holly is that the other day, I think that was 2 days ago, she ventured at least toward the swing area, but that's about as close as she really got to Lucky's cub tree. I'm really curious when she does discover there is a white pine here in the enclosure for her. I really want to know if she's going to climb that, and that's going to turn out to be Lucky's cub tree and Holly's cub tree. She is born of a wild mother, so whether she's going to gravitate to that white pine or not is going to be very interesting for me to know, and we're just going to have to wait and see the first time she, number one, discovers it, and or number two, if she discovers it, will she climb it. White pines in the wild are considered a refuge tree here in this area for black bears. It is one of the trees, most often a mother with little cubs in March or April when they come out of their dens. The mother is most likely to take her cubs to for a day bed at the bottom of a white pine, and if the mother senses some type of danger, she will vocalize. She'll vocalize to her cubs, get up the tree, and those cubs at just a very, very young age scamper up a tree very, very easily, and a white pine is extremely easy for them to climb. The reason why the white pine is so easy for them to climb is because, number one, the bark doesn't come off very easy, and if you really look at a mature white pine, the bark is curved, and curved very nicely just for the cubs to grab onto and then hike themselves right up the tree. Unlike something like a red pine, a red pine, they can climb it, but the bark is somewhat flaky, just like a birch tree. A birch bark can be very flaky and slippery and can be hard for them to climb. The white pine doesn't have any of those characteristics. The bark stays on and it's nicely curved for the cub to grab and to pull themselves up. Lucky's made a few movements, but he is still in his cub tree. I think he may have, no, he's not really turned himself around. He's just hanging out, being lucky. We're going to go off mic here, and I want to thank everybody for coming out, even though it's been raining, and we weren't able to get any bears out for you today, and we apologize for that, but how do you get 400 and 300 pound bears to do what you want every time? Well, you don't, and we don't want them to be that way either. We want them to be bears. We will be heading up toward Holly's pen and giving her food. And of course, you folks, worldwide audience, know how to access the Holly Cam on www.bear.org. Just dial up Holly Cam, and you can see us from there. We'll be up there probably in 5 minutes. And for those of you here at the North American Bear Center, you can see actually what happens right on a monitor that is a live feed here at the North American Bear Center, and that is right at the base of the steps. As you come down the steps from the observation deck, just take a hard right, and right there on a table we have the Holly Cam and Ted's Cam that are both live feeds here at the North American Bear Center. I'll be signing off, and I'll be back in less than 5 minutes.